Men over 60, stop doing these 10 things that harm your prostate health. If you're a man over 60, I want to speak to you directly. This moment might seem like any other, just another click, another video. But what if this message was exactly what your body needed to hear? What if right now, your prostate was trying to tell you something but doing it in silence? You see, prostate problems rarely start with a bang. There's no trumpet or loud alarm. It's more like a whisper. You wake up at night, a little more often than usual. You start noticing that it takes longer to begin urinating or to stop. Maybe there's a sense of pressure, discomfort, or the nagging feeling that something isn't quite right down there. Most men chalk it up to age. But here's what most never learn. Prostate issues are not just about aging. They're about your daily habits. As a doctor, I've walked beside hundreds of men in their 60s, even into their 80s. Some are vibrant and pain-free, living fully, walking without a worry. Others struggle in silence, urinary urgency, interrupted sleep, discomfort they rarely speak about. And the difference? It almost always comes down to lifestyle. In this guide, I'm going to walk you through 10 everyday habits that slowly and silently enlarge your prostate. They seem harmless, normal, even. But they add up, day after day, year after year. And the first step toward reclaiming your health is awareness. So sit back, breathe deeply, and let's begin. We'll start from habit number 10 and work our way to the most dangerous of all. Let's go. Habit 10. Ignoring thirst and staying dehydrated. You might think you're doing yourself a favor by drinking less water, especially if you're trying to avoid those nighttime bathroom trips. But the truth is, this habit could be quietly working against you. Dehydration doesn't always feel dramatic. It can be subtle, a dry mouth here, a little fatigue there. But on the inside, a dry body becomes an inflamed body. And inflammation is the silent enemy of your prostate. The prostate, as you may know, sits just beneath the bladder. When the bladder is irritated or under pressure, it doesn't suffer alone. That strain is passed downward, right onto your prostate. Now here's the deeper problem. When your urine becomes concentrated, it's more acidic and more irritating. This irritates the lining of your bladder, and over time, sends inflammatory signals directly to the prostate gland. The ancient Greeks had a concept called humoral balance, the belief that health depended on the balance of bodily fluids. And while modern science has moved past the theory, the idea that internal fluid balance plays a role in health remains undeniably true. When you drink less, you don't just conserve fluid, you stagnate energy. The body becomes sluggish. The urinary tract becomes a place where toxins gather. And your prostate, caught in the middle, begins to swell in protest. Here's what many men miss. Some medications, including those commonly prescribed to older adults, can cause dehydration as a side effect. Diuretics, antihistamines, even some antidepressants. If you're taking any of these and you're not increasing your water intake, your prostate is under more stress than you think. The fix? Simple. Don't wait until you're thirsty. Sip water throughout the day. The goal isn't to flood your body, but to gently nourish it, like watering a plant. Look at your urine. Clear to light yellow is a good sign. Anything darker? Time to hydrate. Water is not your enemy. It's your body's most ancient ally. Let it do its work. Habit 9. Sitting for long hours without movement. You might love your recliner. After all, comfort is a well-earned luxury. But when comfort becomes immobility, trouble begins. The act of sitting for long periods, especially without movement, creates constant pressure on your pelvic region. This area is home to blood vessels, muscles, nerves, and, of course, your prostate. Picture it this way. Imagine pressing down on a sponge for hours. Eventually, it stops springing back. The same principle applies to your pelvic circulation. With too much sitting, blood flow becomes sluggish, and tissues don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need. Inflammation takes root, and the prostate swells. The Taoist sages believe that energy, or qi, should flow freely throughout the body. Stagnation, whether of blood or breath, was seen as the first step toward disease. And they were right. When circulation slows, inflammation rises. But here's the good news. This is one of the easiest habits to fix. You don't need to run a marathon. You don't need fancy gym equipment. You just need to move. Stand up every 30 minutes. Walk for a minute or two. Stretch gently. Roll your shoulders. Sway from side to side. Even a slow stroll around the room reawakens circulation, and your prostate will thank you. And here's something most people don't know. Prolonged sitting weakens the pelvic floor muscles, which help control bladder function. When those muscles weaken, urine is retained. Residual urine irritates the bladder, and again, pressure builds on the prostate. You may not feel it today, but in time, the damage becomes clear. So the next time you think, "I'm too tired to move," remember this. A still body is a silent risk. A moving body is a healing one. Habit 8. Drinking too much caffeine. Let's talk about coffee. That morning cup might be your ritual, your comfort, your little spark to start the day. And I'm not here to take it away, but I am here to say too much caffeine can silently stress your prostate. Caffeine is a diuretic. That means it makes your kidneys produce more urine. Sounds innocent, right? But more urine means your bladder is constantly working overtime. And just beneath it, your prostate is quietly taking the hit. Caffeine also stimulates the smooth muscles surrounding the bladder neck, increasing urgency and decreasing control. That's why after 2 or 3 strong cups of coffee, you may feel like you have to rush to the restroom, but you still don't fully empty. Worse yet, retained urine is a perfect recipe for discomfort, urgency, and inflammation. And here's the deeper layer. Caffeine also tightens the urethral sphincter, making urination more difficult, especially for those already experiencing prostate enlargement. It's like forcing water through a tightening pipe. Again, we see echoes of ancient wisdom, Ayurveda. The traditional medicine of India warned against overstimulation of the pitta energy associated with heat, irritation, and inflammation. Caffeine, pure pitta. So, what's the solution? 1 cup is fine. Maybe even beneficial. But try switching to decaf, green tea, or soothing herbal teas after that. Chamomile, ginger, and nettle are gentle on the bladder and calming to the whole body. Remember, this isn't about giving up pleasure. It's about protecting peace. Habit 7. Eating spicy and processed foods. Daily, we all crave flavor. A dash of hot sauce here, a spicy meal there. It's part of what makes life enjoyable. But when bold flavors become a daily indulgence, your prostate may be quietly paying the price. Let's start with spicy foods: chili peppers, black pepper, wasabi, curry powders. These ingredients may fire up your taste buds, but they can also increase inflammation throughout the body. And inflammation is never just skin. Deep. It travels through your bloodstream and finds its way to vulnerable tissues. For many older men, the prostate is already in a fragile state. Adding inflammatory fuel to that fire can worsen symptoms before you even realize it. Now, combine that with processed foods, the kind that come in boxes, cans, and frozen packages. These products are often packed with sodium, preservatives, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients. Each bite may feel harmless, but over time, they begin to disrupt your body's natural hormonal rhythm, including your testosterone levels. And as any doctor will tell you, Testosterone is deeply connected to prostate health. In Stoic philosophy, there's a timeless teaching. What nourishes you shapes you. This applies not just to our thoughts, but to our food. When you nourish yourself with real, living foods, your body remains in balance. When you fill it with chemical-laden meals, your inner harmony is thrown off, and imbalance, whether hormonal or inflammatory, sets in. The damage may not be immediate. It may take years, but it is cumulative. A salty snack here, a frozen dinner there, a fast food sandwich once a week, and all seem innocent. Until your body begins whispering back with urgency, discomfort, or swelling. So what's the shift? Start small. Replace heavily seasoned meals with herbs that reduce inflammation, like turmeric, basil, oregano. Swap out processed snacks for fresh fruits, leafy greens, berries, and nuts. Think of your plate as prostate medicine: colorful, natural, vibrant. You don't have to give up taste, you just have to realign pleasure with health. That's not punishment. That's wisdom. Habit 6. Holding your urine. Too long. We've all done it. Maybe you were stuck in traffic. Maybe you didn't want to get up during a movie. Maybe you just thought, I'll go later. But delaying the urge to urinate, especially as we age, can cause more harm than we realize. The bladder is a resilient organ, but it's not invincible. When you hold in urine for long periods, the bladder wall stretches and pressure builds. Right beneath that bladder sits your prostate, receiving every ounce of that stress. Over time, that constant pressure becomes irritation. That irritation becomes inflammation, and that inflammation becomes swelling. In ancient Chinese medicine, practitioners spoke of qi stagnation when the natural flow of the body's energy and fluids was blocked. Holding in urine, from this perspective, is like bottling up that flow, creating internal congestion. The modern parallel: urinary retention. It leads to residual urine, bacterial growth, infection, and yes, enlarged prostate symptoms. There's another layer, too. The muscles involved in controlling urination, particularly the detrusor muscle of the bladder and the pelvic floor, weaken with age. The longer you hold, the more they strain. Eventually, they forget how to relax fully. This causes incomplete emptying, even when you do go, leaving behind irritation and urgency. Here's a simple rule: go when your body asks, not when it begs. You may be trying to avoid frequent trips, especially at night. But ironically, holding it in can increase those very symptoms you're trying to reduce. Make a habit of emptying your bladder fully and regularly, especially before bed. Create a rhythm of release, a ritual of letting go, because just like your emotions, what you hold too long eventually hurts you. Habit 5. Smoking or breathing. Secondhand smoke. You already know smoking isn't good for your lungs or heart. But what many don't realize is that smoking is one of the most harmful habits for your prostate, even if you don't smoke yourself. Here's how it works. Cigarette smoke is full of chemicals that constrict blood vessels, reduce oxygenation, and create a constant state of oxidative stress. This isn't just about coughing or shortness of breath. It's about every cell in your body struggling to repair itself. And for the prostate, a gland highly sensitive to blood flow and inflammation, this means chronic damage. Even secondhand smoke from friends, family, or public places can contribute to prostate irritation. The prostate is not protected by a shield. It's connected to your circulation, your lymph system, and your hormonal network. When smoke touches your lungs, it touches everything. There's also a powerful link between smoking and hormonal disruption, especially testosterone suppression. And when testosterone falls and estrogen rises, prostate growth is triggered. You may ask, What if I quit years ago? Good. That's a powerful step. But if you're still regularly around smoke, the damage continues just in smaller doses. And if you haven't quit yet, you're not alone. Many seniors struggle with this habit. But the body's ability to heal is greater than we think, especially when we stop pouring fuel on the fire. Within weeks of quitting, inflammation drops, circulation improves, and cellular repair accelerates. That means less pressure, better function, and greater comfort for your prostate. And here's a final note. Smoking doesn't just affect your prostate, it affects your entire urinary tract, bladder, kidneys, and reproductive system. The chain reaction is real, and so is the recovery. So if you needed one more reason to quit, or to avoid exposure, this is it. You're not just protecting your breath, you're protecting your power. Habit 4. Skipping regular health screenings. Let's face it, most men don't like going to the doctor. If it doesn't hurt, if it's not broken, why bother? Right. But that mindset, while understandable, can be quietly dangerous, especially when it comes to your prostate. You see, the prostate doesn't always speak loudly at first. It whispers, slowly, subtly, a bit more urgency, a slight change in your flow. Maybe you chalk it up to getting older. But what you don't see, what's building behind the scenes, could be inflammation, a benign enlargement, or, in rare cases, something more serious. And here's the hard truth. When you skip health screenings, you skip your best chance to catch those early whispers. The prostate gland, though small, is deeply influential. It affects how you sleep, how you go to the bathroom, how you feel in your own body. A quick screening, whether a digital rectal exam (DRE) or a prostate-specific antigen (PSA) test, can reveal what your body might not yet be telling you in symptoms. It takes minutes, but it can give you years. The Stoics often said, "He who avoids discomfort invites destruction." This applies here with stunning relevance. Avoiding a 5-minute discomfort today may open the door to months or years of future suffering. And here's something else many don't realize. Early detection often means fewer interventions. When caught early, prostate inflammation or enlargement can often be reversed with lifestyle changes alone. No pills, no surgeries. Just simple shifts: hydration, movement, stress reduction, nourishment. But you can't make those changes if you don't know there's a problem. Many men feel embarrassed talking about urinary symptoms. They hesitate to bring it up, even with their doctor. But here's the truth. There is nothing shameful about protecting your health. What's brave isn't ignoring the signs, it's facing them with clarity. So if it's been a while since your last check-up, let this be your invitation. Call your doctor, ask about your prostate, and remember, a quiet gland isn't always a healthy one. Be proactive, be informed, be free. Habit 3. Eating too much red meat. Red meat is a classic, favorite, hearty, flavorful, satisfying, it's been a staple on the dinner plate for generations. But when consumed in excess, it becomes more than a meal. It becomes a slow, silent irritant to your prostate. Let's break it down. Red meat, especially when processed or cooked at high temperatures, contains compounds that increase inflammation and oxidative stress. These are the two main culprits behind prostate enlargement. And then there's the fat, saturated fat in particular. Too much of it throws off your hormonal balance, decreases testosterone, and increases estrogen, all of which can stimulate the prostate to grow. It's like giving fuel to a fire you didn't know was already burning. Studies have shown that men who eat red meat daily, especially bacon, sausages, deli cuts, and steaks, have a higher risk of urinary issues and prostate inflammation. Here's another challenge. As we age, digestion slows down. Red meat is harder to break down, which puts a strain on your digestive system. That strain creates pressure around the pelvic region, compounding discomfort in the prostate and bladder. But let me be clear, this isn't about banning steak forever. It's about balance, about choosing variety and wisdom. Consider reducing red meat to once or twice a week, and instead explore the vibrant world of plant-based proteins and lean meats. Grilled salmon, lentil stews, chickpeas, black beans, tofu, quinoa. These foods are anti-inflammatory, rich in fiber, and deeply nourishing to your hormonal and urinary systems. And in ancient traditions, from the Mediterranean diet to Taoist nutrition, the advice was always the same. Eat in accordance with balance, not excess, not deprivation, just harmony. A meal should be more than pleasure. It should be medicine. So the next time you sit down to eat, ask yourself, is this feeding my fire or calming it? Habit 2. Carrying too much belly fat. We often think of belly fat as a cosmetic issue, something that affects how we look. But the truth is far more serious. That extra weight around your waist, it's one of the clearest warnings your body can give. Visceral fat, the type of fat stored deep within the abdomen, is metabolically active. It doesn't just sit there. It produces inflammatory chemicals that circulate throughout your body, irritating organs, tissues, and yes, your prostate. It's a slow, toxic drip of inflammation that never turns off. That's why men with larger waistlines often experience more frequent urination, disrupted sleep, urgency, and even sexual dysfunction. The pressure created by abdominal fat pushes downward onto your bladder and pelvic floor, magnifying stress on your prostate. But there's another hidden effect. Hormonal disruption. Excess belly fat lowers testosterone and increases estrogen, creating the perfect environment for prostate enlargement. This is no coincidence. Your body is telling you, lighten the load, let me breathe again. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about extreme dieting or punishing workouts. It's about gentle, consistent change. Start walking 15 minutes a day. Cut back on sugar, white bread, soda. Choose smaller portions. Focus on quality, not quantity. Even losing just 5 to 10 pounds can dramatically reduce pressure on your prostate and ease urinary symptoms. In Hermetic philosophy, the principle of is within. So without speaks volumes here. When we carry chaos or imbalance in our bodies, it reflects in our function. But when we restore harmony inside, our systems follow suit. Your belly isn't just fat. It's feedback. Listen to it. And take one step, just one, toward change. Your prostate will feel it. And will your energy, your sleep, your life. Habit 1. Not managing chronic stress. If there's one habit that silently does more damage than all the others combined, it's this. Living with chronic stress. It doesn't scar, it doesn't bruise, it doesn't shout. But it burns from the inside out. Let's understand how. When you're constantly anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed, your body enters a state of fight or flight. It begins releasing cortisol, the primary stress hormone. And cortisol, when elevated for too long, becomes a slow poison to your internal systems. Here's what that means for your prostate. Cortisol triggers inflammation, which is one of the key drivers of prostate enlargement. It causes muscle tension, particularly in the pelvic floor, compressing the nerves and tissues around your prostate. It disrupts testosterone production, which, as we've seen, affects everything from prostate size to urinary control. And worst of all, it suppresses immune function, making it harder for your body to defend, heal, or regenerate. You may feel like you're handling your stress, but your body knows the truth, and your prostate carries the cost. In ancient Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius once wrote, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Stress often feels external, a bad economy, health worries, family tension. But the greatest shift happens when we begin mastering our internal response. That's the key. You may not control what happens, but you can control how you meet it. You don't need to retreat to a monastery. You don't need to become a monk. But you do need daily rituals that soothe the nervous system and quiet the fire within. Here's what helps. Deep, slow breathing, just 5 minutes a day. Gentle walking, especially in nature. Soft music. Meditation. Prayer. Journaling your thoughts instead of carrying them like weights. Laughter. Connection. A good conversation with someone you trust. And sleep, the true healer of the aging body. These aren't luxuries. They're medicine. Stress isn't always loud, isn't. Sometimes it whispers in your tight shoulders, in the midnight wake, up calls, in the urge that won't go away. But when you make space to breathe, to soften, to rest, your entire body responds, including your prostate. This is the final habit on our list, but perhaps the most important, because without inner calm, no outer solution can truly heal you. Let your mind be your sanctuary. Let peace be your default setting. And let your body feel the relief it's been waiting for. Final message. A new beginning for your prostate and your life. Now that you know the 10 everyday habits that silently enlarge your prostate, the question is no longer, what's wrong with me? The question is, what will I do next? This journey isn't about guilt. It's about awakening. You've just taken in knowledge that many never received, truths about your body, your habits, your healing. And that knowledge carries power. Because now, with every step, every bite, every breath, you can choose differently. And the truth is, small changes become major victories when practiced consistently. Drink a little more water. Take a short walk after dinner. Replace just one processed meal with a nourishing one. Laugh more. Sleep deeply. Breathe slowly. Say no when you need rest. Say yes when your body asks for movement. And don't wait for symptoms to scream. Act while they whisper. The ancient Egyptian healers believed that true medicine began before the illness appeared. Prevention, they taught, was not just strategy, it was sacred. And your life, your energy, your comfort, your peace is sacred too. So be gentle with yourself, not passive, gentle. Choose one habit to change this week, just one, then another next week, and another. And before long, your body will begin to remember what wellness feels like. Your prostate will settle, your sleep will deepen. Your days will open up again, not around the bathroom, but around your joy. You are not alone in this. And you are never too old to start healing. Take care of your prostate, and it will take care of you. Your next chapter begins today. Now, take the first step and share this message with someone who needs it. Because the greatest medicine of all is shared wisdom.